Bilbao against Inter tomorrow with Sam Matterface and Danny Mills from 8 o'clock on TalkSport. Thursday night, West Ham in the semi-final first leg of their Europa Conference League tie with the Dutch side AZ. And join us at the Olympic Stadium for that one. Thursday night, build up at 7 ahead of an 8 o'clock kickoff. Friday, we're into the playoffs. It's Peterborough, Sheffield Wednesday, League One playoff semi-final first leg. And that's an 8 o'clock kickoff over on TalkSport 2. And then Saturday, the Premier League returns. Leeds, Newcastle. Massive implications at both ends of the table. And Stuart is alongside Sam for that. And Reshman in the chair. Game Day Live starts at 11 Saturday, 12:30 kickoff from 3. It's Villa against Spurs, and more playoff action on Saturday as well. Bolton Barnsley, Sunderland Luton, and Salford Stockport, all over on TalkSport 2, kicking off at 3, 5:30 and 7:45 respectively. Tonight we played half an hour. Gundogan's okay. He's asking for permission to come back on the field. The play has restarted, and now he can come back on. He's getting boos and whistles from the Real Madrid supporters as he comes back onto the field. Good to see him back. Grealish has just given it away. Rare mistake from him. Fired high inside the penalty area from the Real Madrid right. Rodrigo's ball just a little bit too high for Vinicius. And Walker has the ball at his feet, and he's got time to survey his options, and he's planted it upfield some 60, 70 yards. But Stuart, with 31 minutes in, and if I'd said to you on the way over today that 31 minutes in, it would be 74% possession for Manchester City, 6 shots without reply and 4 on target, I think you and everybody else would have been amazed. But that is how it's transpired so far.
I think the only, well, this is, you know, they've grabbed the game by the scruff of the neck. The only thing that you worry about is the fact that, you know, Madrid could sweep up the pitch and get a goal from absolutely nothing, and that's always in the back of your mind. Grealish for Gundogan.
Remember the semi-finals last year, there were 3 separate occasions where Manchester City had a 2-goal advantage on aggregate, and they didn't go through. This one would have been much the better team, but they don't have any advantage as yet, except for having knocked 30 minutes of time from the away leg off the clock. Diaz trying to make his way all the way forward towards the edge of the penalty area. Real have won it back. Now Benzema goes out towards Camavinga. City have got to get the bodies back quickly. Walker's dropped into Diaz's position right at the heart of the defence. Benzema, Camavinga, left-hand side of the penalty area, and as he won the corner, he has the first that Real Madrid have won. Camavinga right with the ball on the byline, flicking it into Walker, and over the line for a corner. We're just seeing a replay of it, and yes, the decision is the correct one.
I'm wondering, Jim, whether City, at the moment, City have been the one to keep taking the game to Madrid.
The corner is taken short, edge of the penalty area, Modric. Modric's left-footed ball inside the penalty area is well headed away by Walker, and City clear their lines.
They've been the one to take in the game to Madrid. They've dominated the game. I wonder whether City come to a stage where they say, you know what, we're not taking the game to you, we're just going to keep it here, and you've got to come out and go and chase the ball. We're happy taking a draw in this game, you know.
And that is often, maybe not often, sometimes the way that City do approach the big games away from home. Well, they will have the possession, but it is in areas much deeper than where we've seen them have the ball today. Just string the passes together and try and frustrate the opposition. This hasn't been an exercise in trying to frustrate Real Madrid. This has been an exercise in going for the throat. Modric, fall for Carvajal. Now Kroos can bring it forth. Valverde making good ground down the right. High ball in. Benzema chesting it down. Can he get a shot in? Pulled back towards the edge of the penalty area. And the referee spots an infringement. It's a handball by Benzema as he tried to control it and turn and find a teammate. Free kick to City.
I'll tell you what an intriguing game this is. The away team dominating the ball, dominating efforts at goal, and once every 5 minutes, Real Madrid coming after you on the turnover and saying, you know what, we are magnificent on the counter-attack, and it's finely balanced.
They don't have an impregnable home record in Europe. Real Madrid have lost 6 of their last 23 home games in continental football. Diaz looking too long for Grealish that time, and out of play for a throw which will be taken on the Real Madrid right.
Tell you what I'd like to see a bit more. Grealish, he's received the ball on many occasions. I'd like to see him just take the full-back on, really go after him, you know. I think they've done it quite well on the right-hand side in getting numbers on the overload.
Now Real Madrid can play through the press and do so quite brilliantly with Camavinga. Camavinga driving forward to his left-hand side, his Vinicius, right-footed effort, blasted into the net. And Manchester City have had all of this possession and chances, but one counter-attack has been devastating, and it is first blood to Real Madrid. Camavinga made it, Vinicius finished it with an extraordinary shot that almost took the net off its mountings. And for all of City's dominance, they trail the 14-time European champions, and it's Vinicius 1-0.
I'll tell you what, brilliant. Once again, they've swept out from that left-back position with Camavinga. He's played a 1-2 past Bernardo Silva, rolled it inside, and, well, with very little back... Well, I don't know how much backlift. It looks as though he's stretching for the ball almost. He's hit it, and it's flashed past the goalkeeper before Ederson could even move, to be quite honest with you. And football never fails to amaze you, does it, Jim? City been brilliant for 35 minutes, but in the last 30 seconds the dagger blow has been delivered, and City have got to make sure at this stage they do not lose their head. They've got 2 games to get through to a final.
It is their first shot. It's taken 36 minutes, but it flew past Ederson. And the Bernabeu, already in a state of cacophony, sees the volume go up even more. Scarves being waved around the heads in the familiar Real Madrid celebration. Home side lead by a goal to 0. Walker will make his way forward. As you say, so much football still to come. Still 2.5 hours, more than 2.5 hours worth of football in this tie yet. Kroos losing out. Modric is able to pick it up. Manchester City have hardly trailed this season in the Premier League. They've only been behind 6 times in league games. They've only got 1-0 down in 6 games. They've come back to win half of them. But not many of them against opposition of the quality of Real Madrid. And it's a free kick to Ancelotti's man about 10-15 yards inside the City half. 7.5 time on TalkSport. Real Madrid 1, Manchester City 0. Very much against the run of play.
It's interesting to get a tilt on the psychological side of football. One team have been absolutely dominated and shaken to the core, then all of a sudden they've scored a goal. It's given them a massive lift now, and it's City that have got to be mentally strong.
And Bernardo Silva's lost it. Benzema picked his pocket. Walker, though, blocked the cross inside the penalty area and clears. And as you say, this really is an exercise in mental fortitude as far as City are concerned. Be forgiven after what happened here last season for it going through a few heads. Oh no, not again. But remember, 5 of the City players today, half of the outfield team didn't start in that game. Maybe not quite as battle scarred as some of the others as a result of that. And if they were to lose 1-0 tonight, they would still fancy their chances of being able to overturn it in 8 days' time live on TalkSport. Rodri emerging from the centre circle in possession, nutmegs from the referee, gets the ball back from Gundogan. Now Kanji inside his own half, and Diaz will play it forward. Haaland had that header which was saved by Thibaut Courtois, but they haven't really been able to create too much for him other than that. Real will work it forward again. Ederson takes control of the situation for City. Good early shout to Stones, and he comes down to the edge of his penalty area, puts his hands down, picks up the ball, bowls it out quickly for Kanji to Rodri. Now Jack Grealish. Real Madrid leading 1-0. Vinicius on 36 minutes, and has scored the winner in the final last season with yet another significant Champions League goal. Stones for City certainly deserve to be ahead rather than behind. In central position, he's 20 yards outside the penalty area. Stones bypassing Modric, finds Walker. Back he goes for Walker again. City slow it down for a moment. Real, with this tight defensive shape, which as Stu's been saying, has been very narrow out of possession. City, as a result of that, trying to utilise the width as best they can, and Grealish will never move too far away from the near touchline. Picks up possession here and goes back inside the centre circle for Diaz. Forward from Diaz into the feet of Stones. Diaz again inside the centre circle. Stones on the half turn. Rodri, who's a veteran of 4 Madrid derbies in his Atletico days. The ball is played out towards the far touchline where Camavinga has fouled Bernardo Silva. Free kick taken from the wrong place. Quickly, Silva back for Stones. Now towards Rodri. Rodri back for Stones again. Stones 30 yards out. Not really in a shooting position though, right of centre. Kanji's brought into it. Kanji shuffles forward towards the edge of the box. De Bruyne gets it in past Carvajal. It's too high for Haaland. They just had Courtois scrambling for a moment across his line. Bernardo Silva keeps it alive for City. It's got Walker in conjunction with him. There's no doubt the City's worst 5 minutes of the game have been the 5 since they conceded the goal, but they're just beginning to string the passes together again now. Into a good position, Gundogan, he's onside. Oh, across the face of the 6-yard box. Silva and Grealish couldn't get there. Back from De Bruyne. He hooks it in, it hits Valverde and goes out for a Manchester City corner. 1-0 Roman.
Set up there. Cole Walker just lost the ball, lost his way a little bit on the touchline, and Bernardo Silva just helped him out, tidied up the situation, and all of a sudden ball flashing across the face of the goal.
Corner to be taken on the City left. It's their 5th. In towards the edge of the 6-yard box. What's the referee seen there? Bit of pushing and shoving going on. Free kick to Real Madrid. That goal for Vinicius, 7th of the season in the Champions League. He's had 6 assists as well, so that means that he's now had more goal contributions than any other player in the competition this season. 1 ahead of Erling Haaland, who's got 12 goals and is way out ahead of the rest. He's 4 clear of any other player in the competition this season. It's the City side, unbeaten in 20. Their last failure to score in that last defeat, which came to Harry Kane's record-breaking goal at Tottenham back in February. City have scored 60 in the 20 games they've played since then. In need of something here, trailing 1-0 with 2 minutes to go to half-time. But any match you're high betting, sometimes it can disappoint you. Champions League ties, to be fair, very rarely do these days. This one certainly has it in terms of the quality of football, and the spectacle has been brilliant.
It's intriguing, and to see 2 teams with varying different styles. One totally possession based, and the other one with hardly any possession of the ball, surviving off of scraps of counter-attack, and they are the ones that have got their nose in front. And on what I've seen at the moment, Jim, I'm not sure I'd like City to come home with a deficit, to be honest with you, because I think they've demonstrated already, Madrid, that they are a very, very effective side on the counter-attack.
Yeah, if City are in a position where they have to go for the throat again, and needs must, Real are very adept at making that work in their favour. And Courtois played the ball forward here, and it's gone out of play past Carvajal for a throw that will be taken on the City left. It's going to take some decoding, this game. I look forward to listening to Laura Woods and Rangers legend Ali McCoy's doing exactly that tomorrow morning from 6 a.m. with Gabby Agbonlahor joining them from 8. And if you fancy something different on your morning commute tomorrow morning, don't forget the Chris Evans Breakfast Show. Wonderful way to start your day on Virgin Radio from 6:30 tomorrow morning. You can listen to Virgin Radio on DAB or download the app. Now that's a sore one for Grealish, and an angry reaction from him as well, as the ball was played down towards the dead ball line, and Carvajal was trying to shepherd it over the line and out of play, and Grealish ended up in the hoardings, and then there was a reaction from him, and now Carvajal is down in front of those same hoardings and he's writhing in pain with his right hand clutching his left wrist. It was certainly naughty from Carvajal. He shoved Grealish straight into the hoardings. There's no runoff, and those hoardings ferociously hard. That's a poor challenge. Grealish going down, holding his face. Carvajal leaning over him. There's a reaction, and Carvajal's reaction on the back of Grealish getting back to his feet is shameful.
It certainly is, but at this standard, at this level of football, you're looking for an advantage with the opposition, and what you can't do, what Carvajal done was really, really poor. It was a woeful challenge on Grealish, to be fair, to put him into the holdings. But then again, Grealish looked at the end of the exchange the more of the aggressor, and what he's got to do now, Grealish, is get the ball, get it on the half turn and start running at him. That's his best line of duty, not getting involved with pushing and shoving. Get turned and go after him and start asking questions of him.
And the referee, who has done everything he can to keep his cards in his pocket so far, has got to police the situation effectively, because Carvajal for persistent infringement, if for nothing else. It's got to be really close to a yellow card. Grealish is making that point to Arthur Diaz right now, and the Portuguese referee is pointed to his eyes and then his temple and saying, look, I'm watching, I know what's going on. But it's just been foul after foul.
But sadly, Jim, the referees don't know what's going on. You see it time and time again. They just see players launch themselves to the floor and have got no idea who the aggressor is, who the play actor is, and that is the big problem you've got. If you're a City player, you've got to be cleaner than clean out there.
We're in 2 minutes of added time at the end of this first half. Real Madrid 1, Manchester City 0. 30 seconds or so of play before the break. City with a throw on their right flank, and Rodri will play back towards Walker. Good turn in the midfield from Gundogan, and then he's had his legs taken from underneath him, and that's a free kick, and that will be a yellow card for Toni Kroos. It's a poor challenge. Yeah,
it certainly is. He launched himself into the challenge, quite reckless, to be quite honest with you, and as they do, Toni Kroos lying on the floor nursing his head, but certainly Gundogan's come out the worst of this one. Great skill by him, actually, to get out of a really tight situation on 2 occasions. That is a horrendous challenge, by the way. Well, that is a sending off challenge, to be quite honest with you. Cynical. He could have done himself damage as well as the City player. Once again, Jim, referees do not know what a poor challenge is, I don't think, this day and age.
And the VAR, Daniele Orsa, the VAR, Massimiliano Irati, I beg your pardon, I'm surprised he hasn't looked at that. There's no indication that a check is ongoing. Free kick is taken now. Goalkeeper's come out, got himself stranded. In the end, got his fingers to it to flick it away. And a play for a throw. There's no time to take. And Real Madrid lead at half-time by a goal to 0. But the referee needs to take control of this. And that was a shocking challenge from Kroos, as you mentioned. Pep Guardiola is just saying to the assistant referee, Paulo Suarez, as they leave the field, that the officials aren't doing their job properly. There's quite vehement, heated conversation going on. The challenge from Kroos, as Gundogan, his long-time international teammate in the heart of the German midfield, got past him, and he came in and scissor kicked him, really, just above the right thigh. He got a yellow. He was lucky it wasn't worse. Carvajal's extremely fortunate he's not in the book. And Real Madrid, for all their counter-attacking brilliance, are fortunate they have the lead. City have been brilliant, everything but the goal. They trail to Vinicius' strike on 36. It's 1-0.
Well, Toni Kroos went straight to the referee on half-time, and I've no idea what he was saying to him. He kind of been complaining about the yellow. Was he saying, I got away with it, thanks ref, because it should have been a red? He's basically launched himself waist height at Gundogan with the ball already gone. I'm with you, Stuart. That's a clear red card. Carvajal should have been booked probably in the first 15 or 20 minutes, and then some of the nonsense would have stopped. He's gone and elbowed Jack Grealish into the hoardings. That's got to hurt. Grealish stupid to react as well. What about Rudiger on Gundogan? Not even a yellow card for that. This is outrageously bad refereeing, and it could cost Manchester City.
Both sets of players out there are absolute top quality at what they do in regard to football aid, but they're also top quality as well of knowing what to do to stoke up the opposition player, to try and create a reaction. And you've got to be above and beyond that here. You've got to do the things that really hurt them, not reacting to anything that might happen. What we've got It's an incredible game of football here. Two sides with so totally contrasting approaches to the game. But one team, having been rocked to the core for 26 minutes, have come out and managed to get a goal. And this game is nicely poised at the moment. And what we don't want, probably as semi-neutrals, is a player getting sent off and swinging the game. Certainly, if it's a City player.
Yeah, for retaliation. Pep Guardiola having a right go at the officials, and the fourth official actually, as the half drew to a close. He's got to get into his players as well to keep their discipline, but also, I think that yes, City bossed it. They had a lot of chances. They had a lot of possession. They were controlling the game. There were moments in the first half where every single player was in the Real Madrid half of the pitch, apart from Edison. So total control from Manchester City. But have they done enough with the possession that they've had? They've had chances. Some have been on target, but I wanted to be a bit more direct, like Real Madrid were with the goal.
Yeah. For me, the key to this is on the right-hand side for City. They've got a lot of room out there. Camavinga tucking in is offering a lot of room on that side. But Bernardo Silva's not a tricky winger. He can't really go past people. He's got good close control, but he's not that type of player. So they've got to get an overload over there to get to the touchline to pull back. On the other side, there is a natural winger there, I think, albeit he wants to receive and come inside a little bit. He's got to learn in this game to receive on the half turn and really go at Carvajal like a proper winger will, and give us that diversity from one side to the other.
Mate, one-on-one, Jack Grealish on Carvajal, that's no competition, surely.
It isn't, but if you keep receiving the ball with your back to the fullback, and all you want to do is drive either back to your fullback or diagonally inside at 45 degrees, you're never going to get that turn on to go and hurt your opposition.
Let's talk about the goal then. Camavinga was brilliant for it. I mean, the shot from Vinicius is sensational. It isn't actually right in the corner, but it's hit so hard Edison can't get across quick enough, and maybe you could look at the keeper there. But what's happening on that Real Madrid left-hand side? What's Bernardo Silva doing? What's Kyle Walker doing? Or what could they do better?
Well, what's happened is, to be fair, they've pushed them back, and the two surges that they've had, A, for the goal, and secondly, another effort that's ended up in the box earlier than that, they've had to interchange from near enough their final third, right in the far corner from where we are. So you've got to give them credit somehow. City are coming forward, albeit all well, but with Camavinga and Vinicius, they've swept the length of the pitch with an interaction from Modric, and you've got to hold your hands up and say, that's just great play.
It was brilliant from Real Madrid, but it was so Real Madrid, and it was so semi-final last year, wasn't it? Man City totally on top, totally dominant, and at half-time, live on TalkSport, it's Real Madrid 1, Manchester City 0. You're listening to Kickoff on TalkSport with Ladbrokes. Play at ladbrokes.com, 18+, speakgambleaware.org.
Guys, this is Davina. I need your help. 51% of the population will go through menopause. That's your partners, sisters, friends, co-workers, all navigating this huge change, yet often we feel like we're doing it alone. I want to bring men into the menopause conversation because your allyship is so important. My book, Menopausing, will tell you everything you need to know so you can understand and support the people you care about. Menopausing, out now.
Kickoff on TalkSport with Ladbrokes. Are you in? Let's go. Play at ladbrokes.com. 18+, begambleaware.org.
At Screwfix, we've got low prices to make you go wow. Like the LAP rechargeable LED work light at just $34.98. And Scruff's work trousers, only $27.98. Get trade essentials at wow prices. Shop on the app, at screwfix.com or in store. Screwfix, the choice of champions. While stocks last. Prices valid until at least 4th of June. Visit screwfix.com for T's and C's, delivery charges and restrictions.
What are you doing in the kitchen? Is that my Muller fridge?
No.
I can hear it mooing.
No, don't think so.
Lots of milk, loads of chocolate flavour.
Muller Fridge, feel the urge.
At Betfred, we want betting to be safe, so we have a range of tools to help. You can set a deposit limit.
to become more effective in the game, if you like?
Well, the only way he can get more of an involvement is coming deeper, and I'm not sure that that's the ideal thing to do in this game. He's got to be patient, he's got to rely on those wide areas, getting supply line and getting those central defenders turned sideways or facing their own goal. The only way to do that, get to the byline and pull back on occasion.
I was slightly annoyed with City watching them, you know, when they were playing it around with Edison taking passes, then passing it to fullback and then passing it to another fullback, back to Edison, and actually there were a couple of times when they lost possession deep in their own half. Now, it's not so much the playing out from the back that I've got a problem with. I'm not Alan Brazil, but you've got to have some purpose to that. And they were drawing Real Madrid out, but there was nobody making themselves available for the killer pass beyond that press.
Yeah, it's fair to say we've not seen one ball played in behind the Madrid back line that's turned them and it's been a foot race potentially, or the City players got there first and there's been a slight problem, and that probably tells you something, A, about how Madrid have defended, and more importantly how compact and deep they've been. And
if you look at the stats, Man City have had chances and some of them have been on target, but they're basically straight out. Courtois, Rodri had looked like a fantastic shot, but it's got to be brilliant to beat Courtois. We're talking about a big goalie and one of the world's best.
Yeah, there's no doubt that sort of they've had a couple of efforts, De Bruyne, Rodri, but they've not done enough to really. The shots have come from the other side of bodies. They've never had a clear sight of the goalkeeper at the moment. The big thing for me, the psychology of City at the moment, do not panic. They're 1-0 down, a quarter of the way through a two-legged tie. They've got to make sure that they don't lose their heads and do something ridiculous, that either in their tactical play or alternatively getting caught up with sort of some argy-bargy that's going to get someone sent off.
Well, in around about an hour's time, the Sports Bar will get underway on TalkSport. It is Jamie O'Hara and Jason Cundy. They'll be taking your calls. Make a note of the number 03717 22 3344 is the number to call. Manchester City in those red and black shirts are out there already. They were talking animatedly to each other in the tunnel. We've got monitors on the tunnel where we are, high in the 6th tier at the Bernabeu, looking down on the dance floor, and they were talking animatedly to each other. Rodri with John Stones. Kevin De Bruyne was in the middle of a heated conversation as well. Not angry, but trying to work out how they can turn this around and get the better of Real Madrid, because it is 1-0 to the European champions. It was vicious from Vinicius, and that's why Madrid leads City 1-0. Second half on TalkSport with former City captain Stuart Pearce alongside Jim Proudfoot.
Adrian, thank you. There are no changes in personnel at this stage, just the one player in the book so far, Toni Kroos. Real Madrid in all white will kick from right to left in this second half. Manchester City in their red and black diagonal striped shirts, black shorts, kicking from left to right towards the end of the ground that houses the section of travelling Mancunians, who will be pleased with many facets of the performance so far. I don't think they'll be very pleased with the referee's performance, and they'll be bemoaning the fact that Real Madrid have this counter-attacking brilliance, and we've seen it from Vinicius again. It's only taken one shot in that first half for Real Madrid to have the advantage. Back underway. The sides lining up like this: Real, Courtois in goal, Carvajal, Rudiger, Alaba and Camavinga, Valverde, Kroos and Modric, Rodrigo, Benzema and Vinicius. City, Edison in goal, Walker, Stones, Diaz and Akanji, but Stones frequently striding forward into midfield. And Rodri, then De Bruyne and Gundogan ahead of him. Bernardo Silva and Grealish wide, and Haaland through the middle. City bring it forward. Rodri to Kevin De Bruyne near the corner of the penalty area, and just threatens to give Camavinga the opportunity to get it away, and then flicked it past him at the last moment. Stones will go out to the Manchester City left for Grealish. Grealish now back towards Akanji, and Diaz has it for City. Stu?
Yeah, just looking at that inverted winger in Grealish, just received the ball there. It ends up being a winger coming back to front him up. Now that should be a written invitation to get turned and run at him, and I'd just like to see him just go past him at times, or at least turn him round if humanly possible.
Gundogan plays the ball down the left-hand side of the box looking for Grealish's run, and it's side-footed out for a corner. First of the second half goes to City. Real Madrid's defensive record over the recent past in Champions League knockout matches has not been good. They've only kept 4 clean sheets in the last 25 matches in the Champions League knockout stages, but 3 of those have come in a row. They haven't conceded now for 6.5 hours of Champions League football since Mo Salah scored against them at Anfield. This corner worked short. It was a poor delivery when it eventually came in from De Bruyne, straight into the midriff of his international teammate Thibaut Courtois. 2 gone second half on TalkSport. 1-0 Real Madrid.
Yeah, be interesting to see how the pattern of this second half settles down a little bit, and really the mentality of City as well, whether, you know, if the game goes into the late 70s, 80th minute, whether they're happy with this 1-0 deficit, or whether in Pep style they'll go chasing the game that little bit more.
Valverde, beautiful ball pinged wide out to the right hand side, back towards Toni Kroos. We talked about the infringements in the first half that went unpunished, and one of those also by a Manchester City player, Bernardo Silva, catching the back of the thigh, Camavinga. That went unpunished and should also have warranted a card. Is Luka Modric. Modric clipping it past Camavinga and out of play for a throw. That'll be taken on the Manchester City right-hand side. This is the 3rd time these two have met in the semi-finals. Real have progressed both times in the past, but City did beat Real in the round of 16, both home and away, 3 seasons ago. Semis back in 2016 was a Fernando own goal here that did the damage, the only goal over the 2 legs. And of course it's 6-5 in the Real's favour when they met last year, and that never to be forgotten Champions League semi-final, one of the best the competition has ever seen. This one's shaping up nicely. In terms of a spectacle, it's been brilliant, so intriguing. 4 gone second half of the first leg. 1-0 Real Madrid. And as Adrian brilliantly put it, vicious from Vinicius is Valverde. Towards the edge of the centre circle. You win awards for that stuff, you know. The ball goes out to the...
I've seen the trophy, my friend.
Real have it. It goes back towards Toni Kroos. And Kroos towards the edge of the centre circle for Alaba. Now Modric. Modric just waiting for Bernardo Silva to engage. City haven't been able to get him into the game as much after a superb opening 20 minutes for him. Benzema now, Camavinga, clever flick from him, the goal scorer Vinicius. Benzema back again. And he's coming off the left flank, another divine touch. Flick forward towards the edge of the area, Benzema will take it on, left-footed rising effort, just cleared the junction of post and bar.
Yeah, I think John Stones has got a touch on that, slid across, last gasp effort trying to block the shot, but once again, difference there between probably Grealish and Vinicius Junior. Vinicius Junior playing interaction, driving straight at the goal, 1-2s, asking questions of the back line and managing to free Benzema up for an effort. Well done, John Stones.
Sorry, Stu, this is Real Madrid's second corner, the first of the second half. And out comes Ederson, he's punched it clear. He's got it outside the penalty area, but Kroos is going to get there first. Now Benzema with an opportunity to deliver. A play back by him on the edge of the box. Rodrigo to Kroos again. Modric. Bottom left-hand corner of the penalty area, Vinicius trying to beat his man, checks back inside and still tries to find a way through, but it's a foul on Rodri. No crowd didn't like that. Free kick to Manchester City. 6 gone second half. 1-0 they trail.
Clever defending there by Rodri. Kept his eye on the ball, low carriage. Just got enough of his arms around Vinicius Junior to stop him getting away from him, and then managed to just go down on the ball. Seen by the referee as a free kick.
City have only failed to win one of their last 16 games. Run that goes back to late February. That was away at Bayern. A 1-1 draw that night after the damage had been done in the home leg. And the home leg of this one to come a week tomorrow is live on TalkSport. And the other Champions League semi-final takes place tomorrow, the first leg of that. Here's Kevin De Bruyne, might be offside here, it's gone for goal and it's smuggled away, and still the offside flag doesn't come out. Oh, now it does, and it's a free kick which will be Free kick which will be taken by Real for the offside. You sense it straight away that De Bruyne has stolen a yard.
I'm at a loss, actually. I'd love to explain to people on air. I've seen it. The linesman thought it was offside straight away. He let play go on, let the cross come in, let the clearance happen, and then signals. And then the next minute, you'll see an even tighter one get pulled up straight away. I really don't understand.
Camavinga, midway inside his own half for Real Madrid. Had a little bit more possession in the second half than they had in the first. The City at one stage had 3/4 of the ball. Rodri back through the centre circle. John Stones will come onto it. Dispatch it to his left hand side for Akanji. We're 7 minutes into the second half. Grealish chasing here. Rudiger coming across to cover his run, plays it out towards Dani Carvajal, who's been a lot more circumspect in this second half so far. Courtois clears it, shanks it clear. Pep on the edge of the technical area, controls it, kills it, passes it to Walker, who takes a quick throw. He looks for Haaland inside the area, but Real Madrid again in a position to be able to mop things up with Kroos and Camavinga, who's having a good game. And they find the goalkeeper, and Courtois will play out from the back, nodded down towards Karim Benzema. Rodrigo will take over inside the centre circle. Riding a challenge, referee plays the advantage. Finishes taking it on. He then lent into Rodri, and the free kick has been given Real Madrid's way. Rodri made no attempt to try and move out of the way, and he might have been fortunate a couple of minutes ago to get a free kick go his way. Might be a little bit unfortunate to have one go against him now.
Yeah, I think that free kick was the sum total of a challenge on Rodrigo across the pitch, and you and I know, Jim, what tends to happen is the referee will blow for a free kick further down the line, which actually isn't one.
City have got possession back from that free kick, and Grealish has done really well. Gundogan with a nice turn as well. Positioning of the referee did him no favours, but Duarte couldn't get out of the way. Not his fault, but City still have it. Rodri bringing it forward. Now it's laid back out towards the Manchester City left. Grealish coming back in. Rodri letting it run. De Bruyne taking over edge of the D. Left-footed shot, and Courtois gets down and again can save quite comfortably.
Yeah, better movement there, as I say, worked the ball wide and in the end exposed the edge of the box with a clever dummy by Rodri. And to be fair, but the shot was reasonable, but never going to trouble the cap.
Well, your reaction, of course, will be welcome and essential on the sports bar. Jamie O'Hara and Jason Cundy open the sports bar later. 03717 223344 is the number. Manchester City fans, what have you made of this performance? What have you made of the refereeing performance tonight? The boys want to hear from you. 03717 223344. Play for now. Haaland inside the area. Long ranging stride. Couldn't quite get into position to get a shot in. It's really well blocked by Alaba. It's the first time that Manchester City have played a potent pass into him inside the box. Alaba did really well to deal with it. It's a corner.
Yeah, you're right. As I say, just mentioning with Aid at half time, I don't think I've seen City play the ball behind Real Madrid's back line and make it a foot race. On that occasion they did, and I've got to say Alaba made it a wonderful block.
Kevin De Bruyne will take the corner. He's played it to the corner of the box, gets it back from Bernardo Silva, in deep, too deep for Akanji. He made the run at the far post, was well marshalled anyway by Kroos, and it's out of play for a goal kick that will be taken by Courtois. 10 minutes gone in the second half. You're listening to the Champions League. It's live on TalkSport with Till, the card payment provider from NatWest. Rudiger, veteran, 200 Chelsea appearances, including a Champions League final victory against City. Played forward by him. Benzema trying to bulldoze his way through. Ran into a red and black brick wall. Crowd begging the referee to find in their favour. He lets it go. Bernardo Silva. Walker made a run past him. Bernardo Silva checked back inside instead. He'd missed the opportunity to play in the sprightly Walker. He would have been offside. Walker does have it now, having retreated back the right side of Modric. Now De Bruyne, almost perfect. A lovely ball down the inside right channel, but Camavinga stretched to read it. And Modric is going to be able to bring it away from inside his own penalty area. And he fires it out towards the Real Madrid right, where a cushioned layoff from Rodrigo is inch perfect for Rudiger. Rudiger back to his goalkeeper. De Bruyne goes across to put the pressure on. Courtois can get it away and chip it over the top of Gundogan to be able to play in Valverde. And the Uruguayan exchanges passes with Rodrigo, and now they go back for Courtois, and they're managing their possession much more effectively in the second half, Raul, than they did in the first.
Yeah, the only criticism I would have of City is I think they've gone through the thirds when they've had the opportunity, and Madrid have been sort of slightly unhinged. They've not gone through the thirds of the pitch quickly enough, I don't think, and certainly Real Madrid have shown they can.
And they do so again here with Vinicius. Carvajal coming onto it, in support on the right-hand side of the penalty area. It's pulled back towards Rodrigo. Rodrigo takes it on inside the box. City defending mop-handedly, and when it comes in, it hits Stones and bobbles away out of play for a corner. He's very grateful that hit him and went wide rather than crept into the bottom left-hand corner, where Ederson might not quite have got there. It is a corner. Taken quickly again. Short for Kroos. Kroos doesn't cross it, finds Benzema instead. Modric from 30 yards didn't pull the trigger when it looked as though he would. It's played in Rodrigo instead. He does, and that's taken a little nick on its way through out for another corner.
I wonder what, the longer this game goes on, whether Pep, if he's looking to try and get on it level terms or better, whether he looks to make changes in these wide areas. That for me is the area when the team plays so narrow and so compact, you've got to go outside it.
So what do you say, Foden for Silva? Is that what you think?
Foden and Mahrez are the two that sort of will offer you something slightly different. I don't think Foden actually offers you a winger type of a player. He's like for like almost.
Corner is taken short, work back in. It was a right-footed effort from the edge of the penalty area that falls Vinicius' way, and then a handball shout is survived by City, rightly so. It's another corner. But the first shot that came in from the edge of the penalty area, I think the defending was actually done by a Real Madrid player. One of them struck it straight into another. They have another corner. It's 1-0, just a minute short of the hour mark. Real Madrid lead courtesy of Vinicius' strike on the counter-attack, a brilliant one on 36 minutes. In comes the corner towards the edge of the penalty area again. The force from Valverde. Rising drive clears the bar.
Yeah, well worked corner there. Just pulled it to the edge of the box. Good first touch by Valverde, and then with the pressure coming, he's just got under it and skied it.
Modric back for Camavinga. Second half feels very different, Stuart Pearce, to the first.
It does. There's a level of confidence that's come over the Madrid players now. They look much better with the ball at their feet. They're dominating play a little bit more and asking more questions.
Well, another free kick has been given Real's way. Foul by Rodri on Camavinga. He knew exactly what he was doing there, just to break up the play. Real not happy.
One thing, he's been consistent, the referee, hasn't he, Jim? You know, he's not brandished yellow cards and then not for worse decisions. He's been pretty consistent with his lack of yellow.
Yeah, he's only produced the one yellow card, and he shouldn't have produced one then. Should have been a red. So foul by Kroos on Gundogan. Very close to being a red anyway. I'm still surprised the VAR didn't want to have a much longer look at the incident. Half an hour to go in this first leg. Live in central Spain tonight here on TalkSport. Real Madrid 1, Manchester City 0. Alaba goes long. In this competition with Bayern as well as with Real Madrid. Vinicius has it now. Vinicius in towards Benzema on the edge of the penalty area. Rodrigo takes over. Good quick feet from him. Benzema's got a tight angle. He's got plenty in red and black back. Then as he tries to pull the ball back, it's another handball shout. And again the referee says no. It's Valverde trying to get himself into a shooting position. Grealish was the covering defender. Arta well placed, no penalty.
Yeah, it looked a good recovery run by Grealish. Not a handball for me on what I'm seeing. But the one thing we are seeing, Jim, is Madrid are looking as though they've got more cutting edge. They go through the gears quicker when they're advancing at people, and I think City have got to learn a slight lesson from them and do the same at the other end of the pitch.
Karim Benzema on the edge of the penalty area for Real Madrid. This is a really good passage of play from them. They've had a good 7-8 minutes now. Manchester City withstand that latest attack, and Bernardo Silva, never one to be phased in possession with players coming in from either side of him, did well to turn away from Benzema. Crossfield ball from City, had to be rescued by Akanji before it went out of play for a throw. He did rescue him, but it's got a little bit fragile in the midfield at times for Manchester City now, and some misplaced passes. Haven't played nearly as well in the second half as they did in the first. Bernardo Silva, Ilkay Gundogan to his left-hand side for De Bruyne. De Bruyne's got Grealish to his left. He's hooked it inside the penalty area instead. Haaland was in the middle. Bernardo Silva made that far post run, and he missed them both. Goal kick, 63 gone, and Manchester City trail in this first leg 1-0.
Yeah, I think if I was looking to force the game a little bit and I was City, it changes the dynamic of the way you play a little bit, but I'm thinking someone like Mahrez on instead of Bernardo Silva. The amount of ball that's being received in this area of the pitch is quite high, but not much has come of it in regard to sort of going past white fullbacks and delivering into the box.
Well, you take Bernardo off, you wouldn't take Gundogan off and perhaps move Bernardo back inside to bring Mahrez on?
That might well be an option that you make, but certainly more of a winger type, if you like, someone's going to run at a defender and really put them on the back foot.
Grealish receiving the ball on the Manchester City left-hand side, back to the direction of play, and then he lost out, gets another touch to try and win it back, then tries to make a challenge. Diaz did make the challenge, it goes out of play for another corner. Now it's City's turn to not be able to get out.
Well, the last 30 seconds or so showed exactly what I'm talking about. Grealish receives the ball with his back to play, can't get turned in any way, shape or form. The ball bounces straight to Rodrigo, he picks it up and he's dynamically running at the opposition.
In comes the corner from the Real Madrid right, deep towards the far post, headed back towards the penalty spot, cleared by City. Break could be on here. De Bruyne scampering forward down the left hand side. Bernardo Silva couldn't find it, and Real Madrid get it back with Modric firing it out towards the Real Madrid right hand side, and then getting a great return ball there from Camavinga, played back in. It's Rodrigo inside the penalty area. City had to make sure they didn't dive in and make a challenge. Camavinga gets it now. Danger. Benzema, left-footed shot, blocked almost at source by John Stones, who saw the ball ricochet off him into relative safety. Now Vinicius will come again, rides a challenge to Bernardo Silva, plays it inside the penalty area. The way Ederson scrambled after that kind of betrays the fact it took a deflection, but the ref didn't see it and he's given a goal kick.
Yeah, they want handball, Jim. That's what they're looking for, whether it be in the box or out the box. But you've got to say, once again, brilliant wing play. Receives the ball. What does he do? He's received it on the half turn, swivels round the corner, and all of a sudden when you face the opposition's goal, you've got a problem. He's flicked at it and he's claiming John Stones got a hand on it.
Well, John Stones did get a hand on it, but not deliberately. The ball has hit his hand. His hand is pretty much touching his rib cage. What's he supposed to do? Cut his hand off just in the milliseconds before the ball gets there. There's no way that could be given. Bernardo Silva finding Stones. 20 minutes gone in this second half. Manchester City trailing 1-0. Kevin De Bruyne. Bernardo Silva on the right hand side of the box. Clever backheel flick from him, and then De Bruyne caught Kroos late, and the referee says no foul, and play goes on with a throw. I thought that was a definite foul on Kroos. Kevin De Bruyne making a genuine attempt to go for the ball, missed it. The referee says play on with a throw.
Brilliant refereeing. Just watch the replay there. Kroos has thrown himself into the challenge and launched himself with no contact whatsoever.
I'll take it back. Grealish. Rodri bringing it forward. Right-footed effort from him. That was really well blocked by Modric, as if his life depended on it. Benzema can pick up the loose ball in the heart of the midfield. Camavinga down on the left-hand touchline, trying to find a way past Bernardo Silva. De Bruyne found a pocket of space. City work it forward. Bernardo Silva's brilliantly kept it in on the slide, and now City can get it forward towards De Bruyne. De Bruyne level with the edge of the penalty area. Driven cross that hits Modric and bounces Camavinga's way. Rodri read the ball out more quickly than Rodrigo. Wins it back. Finds Grealish. Grealish to Gundogan, trying to turn. Haaland peels away inside the box. De Bruyne! 1-1! Magnificent strike from Kevin De Bruyne, and Manchester City are back on level terms midway through the second half. He scored the winner here in 2020, and that's a goal that does so much for Manchester City's treble chance. Back on level terms in a second half in which they haven't played as well as Real Madrid. But against the run of play, they found the equaliser. It's Real Madrid 1, Manchester City 1, and one of Kevin De Bruyne's best.
Once a really loose ball there from Camavinga, and from that moment on, City were on the front foot. Good interchange of play, and De Bruyne got a brilliant shot. Goalkeeper no chance, almost from the same position as Madrid's goal, but he's just unloaded it, kept it really low. Brilliant strike of the ball. And a similar pattern to the first half. All City, Madrid score, and then all Madrid and City score.
Well, Real are far from happy. Can't have any complaints about the immediate phase of play, I don't think, in which the goal was scored. But they had thought, remember, that prior to everything that was going on, it should have been a free kick. It wasn't given. Then Manchester City, from the next couple of phases of play, do score. And Carlo Ancelotti, just a little bit overzealous in his complaint about that, has received a yellow card.
Yeah, and as I say, if he was to see the replay again, I think he would have a different opinion. But City back in the game now, and this could go either way.
Well, still the Real Madrid players are moaning about it. Only now does the ball come back onto the field so that play can restart.
I think Modric is complaining about the potential handball from John Stones earlier, by the way he's pointing, and to be fair, a game of football will break out again in a minute.
Well, did you think that was a handball?
Well, it skimmed his hand, but you can't get out of the way of it. It's physically impossible.
69 gone. Real Madrid 1, Manchester City 1. Kevin De Bruyne with his 96th goal in Manchester City colours, his 10th of the season.
It could be the most important he's ever scored for this football club, maybe.
He was fantastic in that performance that he gave against Arsenal in the match that could well be pivotal towards one part of City's treble chance. Got a couple of goals that day, and he's just scored another hugely important one here. But 1-1, and over the tie as a whole, parity ensures that the most critical moment of the tie at large still lies ahead of us. Modric will be able to take control of the last 20 minutes of this first leg. So he tried to do that, trying to calm things down. Stones, and then he's lost it, and Modric will play it forward, and Walker did really well to come back in and flick it away. But earlier, a foul on Modric in the midfield by De Bruyne has been punished just a couple of seconds prior to that giveaway, and a Real Madrid free kick is the decision from the referee, about 18 yards outside the Manchester City penalty area. Tap short for Kroos, works it wide out to the Real Madrid right. Carvajal combining on that right flank with Rodrigo. Rudiger back for Toni Kroos. Kroos trying to get it away from Haaland. Rodrigo will pick it up, right hand side of the box, headed away by Walker, brought down by Grealish, flicked away by Gundogan. Gundogan turning on the edge of his own penalty area and turning right into trouble. And he's given a free kick away, and straight away raises his right hand by way of apology to his teammates. He's got a yellow card. Can't be too many complaints about that. Dani Carvajal, the man that he caught, and it's a free kick, only about a yard adrift to the corner of the box.
Yeah, silly place to get caught on the ball, I've got to say. He's done well to get out the first one on the turn, but he's turned blind straight into Carvajal, and Carvajal was always going to make the most of that.
71 gone, 1-1 the score in this first leg. The other semi-final, first leg tomorrow, Milan against Inter, and it's live on Talk Sport. 7 o'clock build-up ahead of an 8 o'clock kick-off tomorrow night. Real Madrid supporters doing their bit, almost the Madrid version of the Viking clap. What can they muster from this free kick? Toni Kroos is there, Vinicius is there as well. And it's going to be a left-footed attempt towards goal, and Ederson scampered across his line and had it covered. Worth an attempt, I guess. It was Alaba that struck it, and he's got a decent track record. But that one missing the target by some distance. It's 1-1 with 18 minutes to go.
Just looking at a replay of the De Bruyne goal. I tell you what, fantastic strike, Jim. Great technique. He sort of hit across the ball almost, you know, taking it on at a slight angle. And the power it generated was incredible.
We have seen 2 really high quality goals though. We've seen a high quality game as well. It's been fractious, frenetic at times. Both teams contriving to concede a goal when they've been on top. The second leg will be fantastic. We'll bring it to you 8 days' time. Manchester City hoping still that they will be able to garner a first leg advantage, as they did in the round of 16 3 years ago when they beat Madrid home and away.
It's little technicalities. I'll just tell you in a minute, Jermaine.
As Stones comes around the back and misses as he gets on the end of a long driven ball from De Bruyne. It's a goal kick. It's
little technicalities that you do in the game if you're a centre-forward. Ball just been played up there to Haaland. He's wrestling away with Rudiger. Rudiger's been pulled up for a free kick, and then Haaland's just left the ball on the floor and regained his own position. You get on top of the ball and you play a quick free kick. Now, full well, Rudiger will try to stop that and get booked for it. They're the little technicalities and the little nuances that you've got to do in games like this to keep racking up the pressure on the opposition players.
City will bring the ball forward from inside their own half. 1-1, and the goal has settled their nerves. Over the last 6 minutes they've been the better side again. And they have it here with De Bruyne, the goal scorer, looking for Haaland. Diving headed clearances knocked away by Rudiger. Haaland's got a half decent record. He's failed to score, all told, in 14 games for Manchester City, and coming in those 14 games on the matches on the back of days when he hasn't scored, he's got 12 goals. There haven't been too many occasions where he's gone 2 without a goal in City colours. That's the situation at the moment after he abdicated the taking of the penalty the other day. He's hardly had a sniff of goal tonight, but still time. He's got it now, that little bit deep, or just a little loose. The first touch from him, it's spooned high up off his left boot. Bernardo Silva picks it up though, and comes back for Kyle Walker on halfway. We're into the final 15 minutes of this first leg. Still 1-1 the score here on Talk Sport. Jim Proudfoot and Stuart Pearce talking through the action from the magnificent Bernabeu. Stones pushing forward again, controlling the ball in the midfield. Bernardo Silva couldn't get to him, he left it for Rodri, didn't get to him either, and Real have very cheaply got possession back. They'll try and get it forward quickly. Kroos with the ball out towards the far side. Akanji coming across, did well, just got a foot in before Dani Carvajal, and that made the job of Jack Grealish that little bit easier. He plays it off Carvajal and out of play for a throw. They nearly got caught there.
What I wouldn't do at this stage with 75, 76 minutes on the clock is get caught out and throw the game away. I think City have done brilliantly to stay in the game. They've dominated the vast majority of the first half. They've got the equaliser. I'd be quite happy taking this back home and say, right, we'll give you another game on our own pitch.
Okay, so going back to that point you were making where you were advocating the change and you wanted to see a little bit more directness, particularly down the right flank, would you now say that since the equalising goal you should stick with these 11s? There's still no sign of any movement on the bench.
100% yes. I wouldn't change, because Bernardo Silva's got the ability to keep possession of the ball and not give it away, and that is probably exactly what's needed in this game, more so than an out-and-out winger that might go past someone.
Well, he needs better service in the first place, though, if he's going to be able to keep possession, and he was given no chance with the crossfield ball from Gundogan there that sailed over his head and out of play for a throw. Gundogan's done really well to win it back, though, from that throw. Finds Haaland to Grealish, stabbed off quickly inside the centre circle, and Gundogan's touch was loose, but nothing he could do about it, really. It was drilled at him from such close range by Grealish, and then Madrid will be able to bring it forward on the right side of the area, and Benzema waiting for the pullback, didn't get to him. And Manchester City clear their lines again. 1-1 the score. This could easily be 2-1 either way. The brave man that would call it at the moment. Camavinga can't find a way through. De Bruyne has fouled it, and it's a free kick to Real Madrid, 8 or 9 yards outside the penalty area, left of centre. 1-1.
Yeah, Madrid opportunity now. Kroos over the ball, opportunity to knock it in. I mean, Bernardo Silva there, I can't think he's got any complaints on that challenge.
So Kroos stands, hands on hips. Could go for goal here, but the suggestion is that he's just going to tease it up into the far post area. He does exactly that, curving ball, bangs him over the head. A good save, Ederson. And City quickest to react, knock it away, and then there's an inquest about the offside flag that didn't come up. Stones was absolutely adamant that it should have done. It's very close, having seen the replay. Wouldn't like to call it. Can understand why it didn't. Had the ball gone in, obviously VAR would have had a look at it, but the flag stayed down, and the next phase of play starts with a Real Madrid throw on the right-hand touchline. 12 to go, 1-1. Modric inside the centre circle when he lays it off for Alaba, and then Alaba finds Kroos, and he will turn on the edge of the centre circle, and he'll ping one back out towards Dani Carvajal on the Real Madrid right, setting up a magnificent second leg. You would imagine if it stays this way, Manchester City will be the happier of the two teams. Valverde, De Bruyne with the equalising goal for Manchester City after finishes his brilliant strike on the counter-attack in the first half, and Rodri has gone down, and Camavinga gets a yellow card.
Yeah, he's just took a really bad touch there, Camavinga, and just caught Rodri. Yeah, no doubt a yellow card there. As you say, if you're City now is the time you want to dominate the football, take the sting out of Madrid. I'd be more than happy to come away from here with a 1-1 and say, yeah, we'll take them on our own turf, put some pressure on the referee there, up the tempo of the game and see what they're made of.
Well, Pep has won a Champions League semi-final against Real Madrid in the past. That was with Barcelona back in 2011. He's lost a couple since then, once in his Bayern days, once, of course, last season with Manchester City. First change is going to be made in a moment for Real Madrid, and Asensio is going to come on. Asensio, who came off the bench and scored in a Champions League final back in the day in 2017. So came off the bench to score against Chelsea here a few weeks ago, and he's going to get 10 minutes. He'll be on next break in play. Stones has got the ball in central midfield for Manchester City. To Gundogan, to Rodri. Rodri just shows a little bit of it towards Benzema and then plays it back for Diaz. So we go into the final 10. Diaz to the feet of Haaland. Diaz retreats very quickly and gets a return ball from Rodri, and goes to his left for Akanji. Grealish to Rodri. Talk about how Manchester City approach it. How does Ancelotti approach it? Does he decide that 1-1 actually is not the worst result in the world, and that the fact that City are going to have to try and come out in the second leg means that he's not unhappy with the status quo being maintained going into the second leg? How does he approach this?
I think they would half suit him, to be fair. When you look on the running game, things always seem a little bit worse when it's happening against your team, and he would have seen our City have dominated those first 26 minutes, Jim, you know. He knows his team are good on the counter-attack. That might suit them on the road slightly. I think both these teams hinge on De Bruyne for City and Vinicius Junior. Making sure that they're fully fit for the second legs will be really important for both teams.
And just a reminder of the games coming up between now and then. Manchester City go to Everton on Sunday, and Real Madrid are in action at home to Getafe. Madrid mathematically can still win the league. They're not going to. They're third at the moment in La Liga, 14 points off the top with 15 left to play for.
You would think the duty of care from Ancelotti for his players to get them to the game next Wednesday in the best possible condition will mean they'll probably leave one or two out potentially.
Oh yeah, we'll see Mariano, Diaz and all sorts playing in that game of the weekend, I'm sure. Pep not necessarily with quite as much licence to rotate, although he's made 6 changes tonight, having made a stat was either 6 or 7 for the game at the weekend against Leeds United. And it might be a side not dissimilar to that one that travels to Goodison Park on Sunday. Kyle Walker's got it, 8 minutes to go. And then Walker turning again in the midfield with another opportunity to bring it forward, and more action on the Real Madrid bench. Tchouaméni is going to be on next.
This is where if I was City, I wouldn't be avoid of keeping that ball, making sure you don't overstretch yourself, making sure you can't get countered, and don't give it away cheaply.
They've read your mind. Walker goes 40 yards back to his goalkeeper. Boos and whistles from the Real Madrid supporters at the perception that this is a negative tactic from Manchester City, but Ederson wastes as much time as he thinks he can. He's got the ball at his feet, it's not in his hands. He can waste as much time as he wants and just waits until Modric comes and engages before he plays out.
I'm just looking at the two Madrid centre-halves. When Ederson had the ball there, they're actually ganging up on Haaland, and within 10 metres are all 3 players. That tells me that the players on the width, namely Jack Grealish, has got a lot of space out there, and I just don't think he's made the most of it tonight. Hopefully in the second leg he'll make more of it, but I know as a fullback, last thing you want to be doing is defending wingers running at you all the time.
Kroos leaves the field. He might have done it first half injury time after a very poor challenge on Gundogan. He comes off now. Tchouaméni comes on to replace him. And Manchester City fans, Jamie O'Hara and Jason Cundy, are desperate to hear what you've got to say about this tonight. And 03717223344 is the number. You can have your say after us on the Sports Bar here on Talk Sport. And then tomorrow morning, more reaction as well. With Rangers legend Ali McCoist joining Laura Woods from 6 and Gabby Agbonlahor with the pair of them from 8 o'clock tomorrow. And if you fancy a little bit of music and conversation of a non-sporting variety on your way to work tomorrow, you can have that no better place than the Chris Evans Breakfast Show from 6:30 on Virgin Radio tomorrow morning on DAB, or you can download the app. Now Real Madrid have another free kick here. There's a challenge on Camavinga, is punished by the referee. More irate voices with a Madrid accent just to emanate around the Bernabeu. 5.5 to go, plus stoppage time. There'll be a stack of stoppage time to be added. It's going to be a free kick which will be taken by Modric. Modric from Valverde. Back for Modric again. Modric down towards Vinicius, just waiting for a couple of challenges to come in on him, then released towards the edge of the penalty area. Modric can't quite turn, and Bernardo Silva caught his man, came in the wrong side. He's yellow carded. And another free kick, this one won by Vinicius. And Bernardo Silva just gets a consoling arm around the shoulder from one of his teammates. It was a genuine attempt to win the ball, but Vinicius nipped in between ball and man, and Bernardo kicked him instead of the ball right on the edge of the box. And a free kick in a decent position here for Real Madrid.
It's in a very good position. Modric stood over it, right foot in swing, basically just inside the point of the box, if you like. Really would like someone to clean the game up a little bit more. Some of the diving that I've seen tonight is per normal.
Modric takes it, right-footed in, swinging delivery. Crucial that City head got to it, and it did. And it would go out of play for a corner as it flashed out towards the far side of the penalty area. Rudiger is the conductor of the Madrid choir as he just raises his arms up, tries to get a little bit more volume. Another change is going to be made. This tells you exactly what Ancelotti thinks of the situation at the moment. He's taking Modric off, he's bringing Nacho on. So that's a defensive-minded change being made with 4 minutes of this first leg left to play.
Yeah, he'll obviously fancy his chances a little bit in the second leg. This game's nicely poised for the second leg as it stands. Obviously a goal one way or the other will tilt the balance a little bit further in that team's direction.
Nacho Arni won this competition in 2018, the only final he's played in that they've won. In comes the corner, and he couldn't find Nacho or any of the other aerial targets. 3 to go. City clear. Carvajal picks it up inside the centre circle and plays in Camavinga. Camavinga down the line for Vinicius. Finishes back inside his own half for Camavinga again. Camavinga back for Dani Carvajal, and he will turn. Play it back to his goalkeeper Courtois, takes the touch by the penalty spot, gets it away from the onrushing Haaland, looks long, headed down by John Stones, brought under control by Silva. Camavinga snapping at his heels. Silva's able to maintain possession, goes back towards the edge of his own penalty area, and then hits an excellent crossfield ball towards Akanji. Akanji takes a touch back for Diaz. Diaz with an aerial ball for De Bruyne, the City goal scorer. And then De Bruyne receiving the seconds in the midfield, just exchanges passes with Gundogan. And City again, slow possession right down. 2 minutes to go, it's 1-1. Manchester City trailed in this first leg for half an hour, but remedied the situation at the moment, but they know all too well that there can be plenty of late drama at this stadium. Throw taken quickly by Real Madrid. And one back just as quick by Manchester City, and now Grealish will be able to bring it forward, and he's got Haaland making a run ahead of him, and he's ridden the challenge, and he almost slipped it down the inside left channel where Haaland loves to probe, but it just didn't fall his way, and Real can block it and get it away. And Vinicius on halfway under pressure from Walker just lays it back in the end for Tchouaméni. 90 seconds remain, 1-1 the score. Tchouaméni back towards the edge of his own penalty area. Alaba down towards Nacho. Nacho back for Alaba again. And they play further forward. So Nacho on at left back, and Camavinga, the man that's taken the place of Luka Modric in the midfield after that change was made. Dani Carvajal chasing a 50-50 with Jack Grealish, and he got there first ahead of the Brummie. And it's well played towards Asensio in the midfield for Real Madrid. We're in the 90th minute. This is where Rodrigo struck at this end of the ground a year ago, almost to the day. Vinicius across the edge of the penalty area. Valverde can't get himself into a shooting position, but he can show for the return ball from Carvajal. Comes back outside the penalty area again. Carvajal in. Camavinga with a little flick. Layoff from Benzema. Right footed shot. Brilliantly stopped. Tchouaméni hit it with real ferocity. And Ederson's made a brilliant, crucial save.
We've seen 3 fantastic shots from outside the box. Technical ability, absolutely spot on. 2 of it at the back of the net, and that arguably could have been the best of all 3, which was saved brilliantly by the cap.
In comes the corner, and City win the defensive header. Comes back on the left hand side of the penalty area. Another one that's driven in. Another appeal for handball, not from the Real Madrid players this time. Well, England fans know that Tchouaméni can hit him from distance to good effect. Well, that was a brilliant strike. Ederson did well, poured it away with the top hand coming over the right hand and flicked it over the bar for that corner. We're into stoppage time, and there are 3 minutes to play. And Real work it forward from the back, and everybody stops for a moment, and it's going to be a free kick to Real on halfway.
Yeah, just hit the referee there, actually. A pass hits the heel of the referee, and he stopped the game. And
drops the ball at the feet of Tchouaméni, and play will continue. Nacho's got it for Real Madrid. 1-1 the scoreline in the first of the 3 additional minutes. And Ederson making sure that lightning didn't strike twice with a crucial 90th minute concession here at the Bernabeu. But Vinicius with a lovely reverse ball. Camavinga will make his way for the Madrid fans in front of us, get up to their feet. Camavinga with a shot, couldn't get it past Walker, who blocks it and then clears. Haaland, the outball, couldn't hold it up. Alaba winning it back. Tchouaméni He's looked really lively since coming on in the few minutes that he has been on the field. Nacho down for Camavinga again. Camavinga midway inside Manchester City territory comes in off the left-hand touchline. Vinicius replaces him over there and gets the pass. Camavinga stumbling as he tries to receive it, tackled himself. Haaland, he was caught. Play goes on with De Bruyne, has got possession. Haaland's back on his feet and he's found space, but De Bruyne couldn't find him. And Real knock it away.
Yeah, any slip by any player and both teams are at you straight away with a counter-attack opportunity. Unfortunate there that De Bruyne couldn't get his head up. Rudiger, credit to him, put some good pressure on the ball.
Valverde on the Real Madrid left-hand side in the second of the 3 additional minutes. Back for Nacho. Neither of these sides are going to be too perturbed if it stays this way, but Real just hoping to somehow garner a first leg advantage, because the psychological effect of doing that this late in the game could be enormous going back to Manchester in 8 days' time. Vinicius doing well to get past a couple of Manchester City pairs of legs. It's an excellent ball from him out towards Dani Carvajal, who stumbles but maintains possession on the corner of the area. Camavinga can't get a shot in. Lays it off for Nacho, who on his weaker foot tries his luck. Deflected off a City player, spooned high up in the air. Ederson comes out to catch it, and that means that City should be taking a positive result back next week.
Well, once again, it was that man Vinicius Junior started that attack. He picks it up, he gets turned, he drives at you, and he is a real handful.
And that is the full-time whistle. Honours even. And there were long times in that game that Manchester City would certainly have settled for that. The better side in the opening half hour, but Real Madrid scored at the end of City's advantage with Vinicius smacking one in on the counter-attack. Their first attempt of the game. Kevin De Bruyne equalised in the second half when Real Madrid had been on top. It was bad-tempered and feisty at times, but only an outstanding save from Ederson right at the end of the game has given Manchester City a positive result. All to play for in an intriguing, fascinating second leg next week, because it's all square after the first. Real Madrid 1, Manchester City 1.
Well, Jamie O'Hara and Jason Cundy want your calls. 03717 223344. The sports bar about to open up. Carlo Ancelotti straight to the ref to get in. He's here just to try and persuade him to send a few more things Real Madrid's way in the second leg. Maybe Ederson and Vinicius Junior swapping shirts at the end of the game, the Brazilians, and all smiles actually. It was a big joke between Kyle Walker and Vinicius. Big hug from Erling Haaland to Antonio Rudiger as well. So as bad as the spirit seemed to be in the game, there were a lot of niggly fouls. You were right, Stuart, in commentary. There was some diving as well. There was a gamesmanship, a lack of sportsmanship. There was a whole lot of that going on. But I think all these players out there thought, yeah, this is what happens when you get to this stage of elite European football. You try and do anything to get an advantage in the game.
Yeah, that's definitely the case. As I say, we've got a situation here, honours even, the stakes are really high. We go into next week now all even, and probably that's been a fair result on the run of play. I think, City had the best of the first half, Madrid probably the best of the second half, but for me, the one player who tilts the edge slightly in Madrid's favour is Vinicius Junior. I like him the more I see of him, and I'm thinking it directly as a fullback's mentality. He's not an easy man to play against.
Well, the City players in those red and black shirts have gone over to the City fans who are high up in the top 2 tiers, away to our right in the corner. They did their best to make a noise. We heard We're Not Really Here after the equaliser, a classic City song, and they got behind their players, and the players appreciate that, and in return giving them some applause. And in fact, a City fan, James, has just messaged saying, and I want your reaction to this, Stuart, we've won the Champions League.
Wow. Obviously it's the first match of football that he's ever seen and he's got no idea that upsets do happen, and I would say it's advantage City because they've got home advantage, no doubt about that. But I tell you what, with Benzema, with Vinicius Junior, with Rodrigo in the lineup, and obviously some of the defensive work that they've got in there and the counter-attack threat, this game's far from over.
It is far from over. Manchester City's home record is exemplary. They've won 26 out of 28 at home in all competitions this season. They're not too far short of 100 goals. It feels like a big advantage. It feels like a massively positive result for them. They will have seen how Real Madrid are going to try and set up to beat them in the second leg, and we've seen in the past that Real are more than capable of being able to execute that game plan no matter who they're playing. But I can see where James is coming from. When you have as good a home record as they have, only Everton and Brentford have left the Etihad with any positive result this season. Nobody has in the Champions League. Then in that context, it feels like a massive equaliser, and then late save from Edison.
James has got to remember there's a final to be played after the second leg of the semi-final as well.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Still a long way to go. I'll have a word with my son later. Let's talk about the goal, because Kevin De Bruyne's equaliser was something special. I did say at half-time it's going to have to be really special to beat Thibaut Courtois from that range, because I think he's the best cat in the world, but he's the king cat. But it was very special, wasn't it?
Well, I think both strikes were really, really good. Showed great technique. De Bruyne, he was approaching the ball almost at a slight angle, so I wouldn't say he's cut across it, but almost of that ilk. And to keep it down, to generate the power, and it's beyond the goalkeeper, as the first one was in the first half, before the Cats could react to it.
Indeed. Well, listen, it's one apiece, well poised, but City do, you have to say, have the advantage, especially with that home record that Jim Proudfoot has just mentioned. But let's pick out this evening's man of the match with Till by NatWest.
Man of the match on TalkSport with Till by NatWest, the card payment provider from NatWest. Till by NatWest. Tomorrow begins today. Fees, T's and C's and eligibility criteria apply.
I just wonder if that's a touch of arrogance from City fans, thinking that a 1-1 draw in the Bernabeu in the first leg equals winning the Champions League. Maybe you want to call the Sports Bar 03717223344. But Stuart Pearce, former City captain, former City manager, who was your man of the match tonight?
Well, I would love to give it to a City player. I think there was one or two really good performances in there. I think Diaz and John Stones played particularly well, but for me, Vinicius Junior, every time he got the ball, he tried to take the game to the opposition. He had the ability to get turned and run past people. Scored a fantastic goal, so he'd be my man of the match.
There you go. That was our pick for this evening's man of the match with Till, the card payment provider from NatWest.
Man of the match on TalkSport with Till by NatWest, the card payment provider from NatWest. Till by NatWest. Tomorrow begins today. Fees, T's and C's and eligibility criteria apply.
Well, the Bernabeu is emptying out. What a magnificent arena. This is always a joy and a privilege to witness football in this magnificent stadium. The streets around this stadium will be jam-packed and full of noise as well. The City fans still singing away to our right. Just one final question, Stuart Pearce. Have Real Madrid given other Premier League teams, maybe for next season, a blueprint on how to deal with Erling Haaland? Because he was fairly quiet tonight, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. But as I mentioned, probably continually during the game, I felt as though City needed to have more punch in the wide areas. So the only way to free Haaland up and draw those central defenders out and probably tucked in fullbacks is to put the ball out into wide areas, which they did, City. But I don't think they ever got turned like Vinicius Junior did and drove and went past people playing 1-2s, that type of thing. If they did that, all of a sudden Haaland gets more room and more space to deal with, because otherwise the two centre-halves were basically done a tag team on Haaland, and that's not his fault. He's got no room to manoeuvre. He needs the rest of the team to manoeuvre, because he's drawn two to him, so someone else has got room elsewhere.
That's the former England captain, Stuart Pearce. Pleasure to be alongside you this evening, Stuart, for TalkSport tonight. Here in Madrid, we've brought you a brilliant game of football. And the highlights, two world-class goals from two world-class players that mean the second leg next Wednesday starts all square, and we'll have that live from the Etihad on TalkSport. After seeing off Liverpool and Chelsea, Vinicius Junior thought he'd broken more English hearts with a long-range opener for Madrid, but Ginger Power levelled it up. King Kev cracked in a corker. De Bruyne de brilliant, and it was live on TalkSport. The Sports Bar is next. 03717 223344.
It's just you versus your mates with Le Bon, the quality new football predictor app. With Le Bon, you predict the results for the weekend's big games, invite your mates, then add a few quid to the in-app pot. The mate with the most points at the end of the weekend wins the cash kitty. Simple. With Le Bon, it's just you versus your mates, wherever you are. Download the Le Bon app today and get your mates on it this weekend. Le Bon. LEBON. 18 plus, begambleaware.org, winning subject to 10% transaction fee.
That's not simple. Now that's simple. Hastings Direct Car Insurance is simple. Because when life is this complicated, finding a great deal shouldn't be. Great cover, great price, and a great app makes us one of the UK's top choices when comparing car insurance online. Hastings Direct. Simplicity is the best policy.